with just Aaron saying thank you for all those lovely compliments that you sent, because he set off our bazaar on absolutely the right note by playing that little piano piece. Thank you so much, Aaron.
You're welcome. And thank you.
You're welcome, is what he says. Thank you so much, Joanne Saldana, Sunila Kulkarni. Those were lovely words of encouragement for our in-house talent. In virtually all our bazaars, we seem to have younger people, doing so many things for us, and that's what makes everything special at Funky Rainbow. So, like I said, again, a very, very warm welcome to all of you at our Band Baja Books Bazaar. I mean, this is a special bazaar, simply because we hope, setting the mood for the festive season that's coming up ahead. We have a wonderful guest joining us later in the show today, and the bazaar is all about melody, music, and masti. We have a whole bunch of recommendations, some of them that are specific to music, and some that are specific to Christmas. And we hope you're going to enjoy this melody of music and books and Christmas cheer that we've put together for all of you today. As always, the books are up on the website. The books that we're going to recommend are up on our website, www.funkyrainbow.com. Please click the tab, that says Bazaar. And, this time there are two tabs, that will follow after, one called Band Baja Books and the other called Christmas. We've divided the books into two different tabs for you to look at. There's more books than we can recommend. Happily, there's always more books than we can recommend. And for those of you who are interested in them, we'd like to urge you to pick them up from Rainbow. There is a discount, our 2020 offer, which is if you pick up books above 2,000 rupees, there's a 20% discount available at the moment. And this is valid till the 20th of December. So if the books that we are showcasing today interest you, please do consider picking them up from us. It is quite, it's quite an irony that I'm hosting a bazaar on music, because one of the names that my friends from school and college had given me was not even fit for bathroom singing, was a tag that I had been given when I was in college. And Butama says we are, she is in the same company. I'm really hoping. Of course, Sham says he agrees fully that the both of us are absolutely there. He actually can really sing and hold the tune pretty well. But that said, isn't it ironic? And I hope many of my friends from college are watching, because I'd sent them out all these invitation. The invitation to this bazaar, saying that life really does come a full circle. You may not be able to hold a note right, but here you are hosting a bazaar on books and music. So I really do want my friends from school and college to. Mutama saying, same here. Come on, friends, eat your hearts out, guys. So yes, we begin our session with, the theme, so lovely music, something that has, something that needs no words to communicate, really, right? When in fact, music really goes beyond words. I know I read a quote somewhere that says, where literature stops, music begins. But here we are trying to blend the two and ensure that we sort of get started to the festival season on a bright, happy, and high note. So I will, of course, begin with my recommendations, which are, initially a lot of books on the theme of music. And the first one that I'm going to recommend is one of our favorites at Funky Rainbow, called The Story and the Song. This one written by Mansi Subramaniam and illustrated by Aishwarya Shankara Narayanan, and published by Karadi Tales. is a lovely story, is a lovely picture book about what happens when stories don't get told, what happens when songs don't get sung. Now this is it's set, it's a folk tale from Tamil Nadu, and it's set in a little village in Tamil Nadu where a young lady called Parvati is getting married to her fiance, and there's excitement to her fiance Kamban, and there's excitement all over. You can see this lovely village scene with so many people gathering around to celebrate, to kickstart the wedding celebrations. Now the thing is, different people come to Parvati bearing gifts of different kinds, and there is one lady who comes, Tai or mother, or an old lady basically, who comes to Parvati and tells her that the gift I'm going to give you is the gift of a story and the gift of a song. I'm giving this to you. Of course, I'm giving this to you in the hope that you're going to spread its word far and wide, that you are going to tell it, you are going to sing it whenever and wherever you can. Joanne Saldana, you say, I love the story about the importance of sharing stories and songs. It's a personal favorite. I use this with a similar tale from Cambodia to compare folk tales. How very lovely, really. And what happens? Parvati gets married, she gets busy assisting Kamban in the work that she does and the work that she has at home, and slowly tends to forget, seems to have forgotten this wonderful story and a wonderful song. What happens? Stories and songs, fortunately, don't remain within. They have to come out. They have to make their way out. And that's exactly what happens in this wonderful story, a folk tale adapted by Mansi Subramaniam. And, I think it's absolutely the perfect note to start our bazaar on, because it blends music and stories so perfectly. Published by Karadi Tales, priced at 199 rupees. Our next book is a teeny tiny little note. This one called Song, which is part of the Tambi books. The Tangi books, are such a popular set of books from Tulika, meant for the youngest of readers because they have so little text essentially. And why are they called the Tangi books? Because all the pictures in there are drawn with little thumbprints. Now this one called Song, is about Tangi. There's a Tambi and a Tangi in the book, and Tangi starts to sing. What happens? The cats decide to mew with her, the frogs decide to croak with her, and what happens going forward is just a lovely little book that the youngest of readers can, you can narrate it to the youngest of readers. You can, have them look at the pictures. In fact, you can even do this as an activity together where you use thumbprints to make these wonderful, illustrations that are in the book. This one, written by that lovely writer Sandhya Rao and illustrated by another big favorite, Deepa Balsavar. Song, which is part of the Tambi books or the Tangi books, and there's a whole bunch of them. I think there are 8, 10 books in this series. This one priced at 60 rupees, and we would recommend it for children as young as 2 or 3. The first book that we had, showcased, which is the story and the song, we'd recommend that for 5+ year olds, or perhaps 6+ year olds, depending on the reading levels of the child that you're reading it to. Our next recommendation for a day, and I'm thinking that this is going to be an unusual book. Perhaps not too many of you familiar with this one, called The Pumpkin Seed, written by Dr. Sangeeta Barve and designed by Radhika Tipnis. This is published by Jyotsna Prakashan, and it is such a gem of a book. Book Pickle, you say, I love all these 10 books. They are the cutest, funniest, and coziest books of all times. I have gifted 6 sets so far, and I read them too. How very wonderful to hear that, Book Pickle. That's exactly what books are meant for, sharing. That's what they are absolutely meant for. Now, this one, The Pumpkin Seed, is the story of a young girl called Pinku. Now, what happens? Pinku sows a seed in her garden, takes care of it, waters it. And as you can see, there are these lovely illustrations of Pinku sowing the seed. And what happens to the seed? A big, of course, she's telling her grandfather about what she's doing, and he's looking on quite happily, because she not just waters the seed, she also sings to it. And I actually know that many people tell stories to their plants, many people sing to their plants. So this was just so, it struck such a a note close home, because it was lovely to see that Pinku actually, singing to the sapling that she has planted. And lo and behold, what happens? Once the sapling grows, there is a giant pumpkin that there is a giant pumpkin that grows out of this sapling that Pinku has planted. Now, what's the connection to music, that you may ask? The thing is, Grandpa, plucks the pumpkin from the creeper from once it's grown, and sends it off to Amjad Mia. And what do you think Amjad Mia does with it? That's it. I'm going to show you that picture and not tell you anything more. But it is true that traditionally many tamburas were made with giant pumpkins. That part of the tambura, the base of the tambura was made out of dried big pumpkins. It's such a gem of a book, such a sweet story, really, and fitting in so wonderfully with this theme of music. This one published by Jyotsna Prakashan, priced at 80 rupees.
It's so touching because if you don't tune the tambura all the time, it sulks a lot and doesn't get into tune because
Muttama
it
was
keeps singing to the plant.
Muttama was saying that it's apparently, you need to keep tuning your tambura every time, because if you don't do that, it gets into quite a sulk. So of course it makes sense to talk to your plants, of course it makes sense to talk to your tambura, it makes sense to sing to them as well, really. Our next recommendations, and we're going to do a book that we've referred to very often in the bazaar this far, called The Jungle Radio. Now, why do we have it in our music bazaar? Because The Jungle Radio is about bird songs of India. This one, written and illustrated by Devangana Dash, which has been nominated for many prestigious awards, is a beautifully illustrated book about an entire orchestra that you can hear in the jungle. What is lovely about the book is that it takes you into the world of birds, and you can see these gorgeous illustrations of different birds. At the same time, the child that's looking at it, even the adult that's looking at these pages, can identify different feathered friends, and identify their bird calls as well, and the songs of these birds, one of which goes kee kee coo coo, and there's like a goop 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 goop. These children are absolutely going to have great fun listening to the bird songs of India. Two birds with one stone, if I may say, music and birds, and set in an Indian context. The Jungle Radio is published by Penguin India and priced at 250 rupees. Our next recommendation this morning is, again, I think perhaps a book that many of you may not be familiar with. We haven't, had a chance to focus on it in a bazaar, except perhaps in the case of new arrivals sometime. This one called The Song at the Heart of the River, written by Ishani Naidu and illustrated by Kalyani Ganapati, draws so deeply from the essence of Ayurveda and Vedanta to give you a book that is that is best suited, a beautiful picture book that is goes into a gentle exploration of well-being. I mean, of course, the story doesn't focus on well-being, but what it does is to introduce you to your spiritual side. What is the story about? Well, this story is about a river that emerges deep, and you can see these absolutely pastel shade illustrations, which are so beautiful, about this river that emerges. And as you float along the river, as you float along with the river, you go past little houses and villages, you look at children sailing paper boats, you giggle, you look at trees, you look at birds on the trees. And there is a baba in the story who every morning stands in the river and sings to the sun. I have yeah there is this photo, there is this illustration to sing a beautiful song about the sun. Now it is, as I said, the picture book has it's a story at a very basic level about following the course of the river and the harmony that rivers, like sort of what do you say, like floating along a river, the kind of harmony that it brings to you is certainly one of the levels of the story, but it has deeper undercurrents, if I may so say so. And there are lots of references, subtle references to our Indian traditions that would that absolutely bring alive a sense of well-being, a sense of happiness, and a sense of prosperity. So this one, using ancient wisdom to let's say, to find music for your soul. This one priced at 299 rupees and published by HarperCollins, India, written by Ishani Naidu and illustrated by Kalyani Ganapati. Our next recommendation this morning is a lovely, lovely book that I think many, David Williams, you say stories and songs don't remain inside, they have to come out. I just muted the program briefly to write that down before it fell out of my head. What a motivating thought. Indeed, David, that is absolutely well said. Words, whether it's literature, songs, art, they're not meant to stay inside. They absolutely have to be expressed. Our next recommendation for this morning is just such a delightful book that has regaled children across different generations. Hi Deepali Taneja, lovely to see you here this morning. No worries if you're late. These videos are always up on our YouTube channel and can be viewed at your leisure. This one, called Rooster Raga, written by Natasha Sharma and illustrated by Priya Kurian, is such a delightful story about Ruru the rooster. And I do remember watching a storytelling session. I think it might have been with Jiva, the storyteller, or Lavanya Prasad, perhaps, where they actually, sing what Ruru sings in a very popular Tamil music style. So delightful, so enjoyable. I think they picked the song from Chandramukhi, the movie Chandramukhi starring Rajnikant, where, one of the songs, very popular songs, begins with the words Rara. So they, used Ruru instead and sang, and I'm not 100% sure if it was Jiva or Lavanya, did such a wonderful job of it. Should I have been able to sing a single note, I would have been happy to attempt the same. So Muttama is absolutely ready. Sham is abandoning his chair. I have a feeling that we should continue with the bazaar and not attempt to sing a tune. The thing with Ruru is that, he has so many tunes in his head. The only thing that he can't sing right is a kukru, obviously, right? And what does he do? So Ruru decides to visit each of his friends to find out what are the sounds that they make, what are their calls. So he goes to the cow, who says, and he asks him, how do you do your moo? And the cow let out a long moo. What does Ruru do then? He wants to imitate that call. And what does he do? He says, Kukamoo. Of course. Then he goes to the donkey and he says, how do you bray? And the donkey says, hee ha, hee ha. What does Ruru do? He is like, cuckoo, hee ha, hee ha. And this is such a lovely raga that we have in this wonderful book written by Natasha Sharma and illustrated by Priya Kurian. It's meant for children 3 plus, but I think everybody, whether or not they are in their bathrooms, should imitate the sounds that are in this book, published by Tulika and priced at 175 rupees. We have another one, of course, the next book that we're recommending, a clutch of books of singing animals. We must not leave the creatures around us. We must not take away the opportunity for them to sing. And this one is a simple little book from CBT called The Singing Donkey, written by Shankar and illustrated by Jagdish Joshi. Well, what's the story about? It's about this donkey who has been carrying loads and loads of clothes up and down the river every day and is quite famished. Evidently, the washerman hasn't given him enough to eat. So he comes by and meets his friend, the jackal, and the two of them decide to go off looking for food. So once they set out, they land up in a cucumber field. And what do? They are absolutely eating all the cucumbers that are in the field. And what happens when you eat way too much? Well, the donkey in this story feels very content and ready to sing. So, guys, if we are very, very happy to hear your tunes as well. If you're munching on something or drinking a cup of tea, happy to listen to some songs in the course of this banned Baja Books Bazaar. What does the donkey singing result in? You'll have to read this slim book to find out what happens to this musical donkey. Like I said, published by CBT and priced at 50 rupees. Our next recommendation this morning is another delightful book from Pratham. This one is such a beautiful story because I'm sure many, many of us have heard it growing up. Sunila Kulkarni, you say the Jungle Radio is one of the best books. It's gorgeous with its rhyming lines, beautiful artwork, and the colors. Devangana Dash is simply fantastic, absolutely, and literally the melody of the birds, is ringing in your ears as you go through that picture book. This one, like I said, written and illustrated by Vinayak Varma, is a story that I simply love for the way it's been illustrated. Look at, Vinayak's fantastic illustrative style, sort of blending the abstract and the real. What is the story about? It's a story of what happens when the sun shines on a rainy day. We all know, typically that there are so many stories associated with that when it's sunny and it's raining. In this case, the animals at the forest know that there's going to be, music at the jackal's wedding. And what happens? Each one of them bring a tune, a little bit of sound, some rhythm, some melody as guests to the jackal's wedding. It's a very, very popular legend, the sun shower legend. And this book has been so wonderfully illustrated by Vinayak Varma, telling the story of different guests who are coming to the Jackal's wedding, and what happens when the sun's shining and it is raining. It's really a lyrical ode to a story that many of us are familiar with. It's published by Pratham and available at the wonderful price of 60 rupees. Like I said, a lot of books in our bazaar today that have been, we have classified them into two sets of books. We have one tab that says Band Baja Books. So, go to the website www.funkyrainbow.com, click on the tab that says Bazaar. There's a drop down menu. One of the tabs will say Band Baja Books. All the music books are in there. And another one will say Christmas, because the whole Band Baja Books Bazaar is in anticipation of the lovely Christmas that is that is right ahead of us at the moment. So you can check out the Christmas books that we're going to recommend as well in on the other tab called Christmas. So I am going to move to one or two Christmas books so that the spirit of music, and the spirit of festive cheer are interspersed. And this one, which came in, I think, to us just a couple of days ago, called Hari Santa by Tommy DePaola, is such a, is a laugh a minute book, really, written and illustrated by a best selling writer, Tommy DePaola. And you know what it begins with? Even the first page has you grinning. That's because Santa is getting ready for his big night. Well, he's washing up, he's getting dressed, he's wearing his Santa clothes, and he's just getting ready to climb onto his sled and, deliver presents to children all over the world. But you know what happens to Santa all of a sudden? Oh gosh, he's got to go. He's got to pee. Jesus, how does Santa have to take off all his clothes? What is he going to do? Do the children get their presents on time? This one, a fantastic little book, like I said, published by Simon and Schuster, and available at Funky Rainbow's Christmas Bazaar. This one, priced at 399 rupees, is a board book for the youngest of readers. Our next recommendation, too, is on the theme of Christmas, and this is possibly one of the most beautiful books that I have set my eyes on in the last week or 10 days. It's such a gorgeously illustrated book called The Untold Story of Father Christmas, written by Alison and Mike Battle and illustrated by Lauren A. Mills. The thing is, it's a story set in a very old time when magic still filled the air, and where there lived a little toy maker and his wife. And that's how the story of the retelling of the story of Father Christmas begins. And it's so beautifully illustrated, because the story is set in the land of forests, elves. I just have to show you this fantastic old style illustrations, just so reminiscent of the kind of Russian books and fairy tales that we would read many, many years ago. This one, because it's set in the land of deep forests, elves, and magic, really bringing alive illustrations. I mean, really bringing alive the story with these beautiful illustrations. So what happens? Because it's set in the land of magic and the forests, and where there are elves, there's this kindly toy maker and his wife. What do they discover? They discover that if you keep your heart full of love and wonder, your dreams can indeed come true. Really a beautiful book for the season. Again, this one published by Bloomsbury and priced at 450 rupees. Just I assure you, the illustrations will make you turn the pages over and over again. So they were two little Christmas books that sneaked their way into, into an otherwise musical bazaar. We do have a lot of other Christmas books as well, but we will continue with, recommending more books on music as we go along. Would you like me to say hello to a whole bunch of friends who are here this morning? And oh, of course. And Mutama reminds me that a big shout out goes to our colleague Bharti, whose birthday it is today. And
Happy birthday
to you.
Happy birthday
To you.
Happy birthday, dear Bharti.
Happy birthday to you. Yay. So that's a big shout out to Bharti, and who's celebrating a birthday at our Band Baja Books Bazaar. I was going to say Band Baja Books Bharat, but sure, if ever there's a Bharat, please make sure that mine is Band Baja and Books. And Sham says you're most likely going to be banned, guys. I hope not, definitely. A very, very warm and, musical good morning to all of you at the bazaar. Sunila Kulkarni Gupte saying, happy birthday, Bharti. Joanne Saldana saying, happy birthday, Bharti. And Bharti not singing thank you as yet, but we hope by the end of the bazaar we'll be able to persuade her to do that. So, like I said, a really warm welcome to Joanne, Sunila Kulkarni, Avyukt Nair, Divya Menon, Ameya Nair, Book Pickle, Dinesh Nambiar, Shruti Sri Raghunath, Anisha Tulsian Bajaj, Anchal Mittal, David Williams, Deepali Taneja, Tanushri Singh, Srishti Katiyar, Pavitra Kaudle from Samhita Academy. Lovely to see you. Plavani Mandanna, Mutama's sister, thank you for joining us. Dilwar Thakur, and okay, so and Mutama, of course, really, we're not on Instagram today. There's going to be a couple of music videos and various things that need to be shared in the course of the program, and I'm not sure we have the tech skills to have so many streams today. But for all our friends, who usually watch us on Instagram, we are on YouTube and on Facebook as well. So I will continue with, more recommendations of music books. This one called Music for Joshua, written by Chatura Rao and illustrated by Satvik Gade. What is this lovely story about? It's about a young boy called Joshua who loves music. He's learning to play a music, he's learning to play an instrument. He wants to learn to play a musical instrument, but he's not sure that's going to happen. And what happens one day when he's ambling around the streets, he hears the notes of a guitar and ends up following those notes, going right up to the house of a music teacher and watching and wondering, listening and enjoying it so much, hoping if only he could learn. What happens? Does Joshua manage to learn, the music that absolutely enchants him? In fact, the story, it takes you right into the heart of a small East Indian community in Mumbai, and it takes you right into a family in that community. Sloping roofs, cobbled alleyways. The book really does recreate the ambience of this community quite beautifully in its illustrations. But above all, it's a story of whether Joshua can end up learning the music, that the instrument that he has set his heart out on learning. This one, like I said, published by Tulika, written by Chatura Rao, who's won, an award for writing picture books for children for her book Gone Grandmother, and Satvik Gade, who's done several other books for Tulika, including Red, a book that we featured one of our earlier bazaars. This one we'd recommend for 6+ year olds and priced at 175 rupees. Our next one is again a hot favorite, a hot musical favorite at Funky Rainbow, Zakir and his tabla, dha din dha. Really, the book, turning the pages of this magnificent book written by Sandhya Rao and illustrated by Priya Kurian, literally has every reader, young and old, drumming to the beats of the tabla. It's such a heartwarming telling of the life of Zakir Hussain, how as a young boy he absolutely wanted to play the tabla, wanted to learn to play the tabla from his father, and how it is, this wonderful bond between father and son, that is Zakir Hussain and Allah Rakha, and how, what does it take to achieve mastery over a musical form. I mean, it takes a lot of rigor, a lot of practice. And is young Zakir up to this? Can he become a great tabla player? We do know that Ustad is perhaps one of the most favorite, beloved tabla players the world around today. But it's beautiful the way Sandhya Rao has dipped into his early life. There are these illustrations of him banging on pots and pans in his ummy's kitchen, and how the parents are completely encouraging of their son's talent. It's a wonderful biography, and Priya Kurian's illustrations adding so much warmth to this story. I literally mean, as it progresses and all the beats like da, din, na, da, din, you are going to be drumming on the table or drumming on any pot and pan, drumming on something as you're reading this wonderful picture book, which we would recommend. Like I said, these books, we recommend them for particular ages, but they are just meant for readers of all ages, child or adult. These are very, very enjoyable books. Really, you are going to be drumming to the beat of the tabla as you read this wonderful picture book. Recommended for 6+ year olds and priced at 275 rupees. Our next book is, and yes, this is one of those bazaars in which we have a smattering of Western books, because some of them just fit into the theme so perfectly. This is the best-selling Dan Brown, who's written so many successful books for adults, with his first picture book, which is a really, really wild adventure called Wild Symphony. Now, what is the story about? It is about a young mouse called Maestro Mouse, who is getting ready for one giant symphonic surprise. Avyukt says, I love to play the tabla. I'm so delighted to hear that. I hope you play on all the pots and pans and, tables and chairs in your house, Avyukt. I think that's exactly what Zakir Hussain used to do as well. We would love to have a small little tabla performance from you on your pots and pans one day at the bazaar, for sure. Now, in this one, like I said, written by Dan Brown, and illustrated by Susan Batory, taking you right into Maestro Mouse's world. Look at these lovely pictures. What is in Maestro's mouse's world? Well, there is the mouse and his musical notes. There are so many birds, and you know what Dan Brown has done so well in this picture book for young readers? There are little clues, like there are clues on every page where you need to read the clue and spot something on the pages, just so that you don't get left behind. Maestro's, just if you have to be part of Maestro Mouse's musical adventure. It's such a lovely book, and it does include some music. You can, I think, download or listen to some music which has been put up on a website, which has been composed by none other than Dan Brown himself. So, I mean, we really multi-talented writers doing wonderful things, doing, writing these excellent books that bring music close to the heart of young readers. Vijay Lakshmi Nagraj entering the bazaar with a la 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 hum, and I can assure you she sings a lot better than I ever can. Hello, Team FR. I'm humming to my signature tune. Welcome with a la la to our La La Land, Vijay Lakshmi. Such a pleasure to see you here. Uh, oh, Avyuk Nair telling me that I play a real tabla. That is just wonderful, Avyuk. We are going to have a tabla performance by you sometime soon. Uma Sharma says, wow, I love you guys. Such amazing books. We love you right back, Uma. And man, the books are really amazing. That I've got to say. So this one, like I said, Dan Brown, a handsome hardback book, written by the best-selling author Dan Brown, published by Penguin Random House and priced at 699 rupees. I
I
know.
thought you had met Dan Brown and calling him a handsome hunk.
And Muttama says she thought I met Dan Brown and I was calling him a handsome hunk. Completely mistaken. No, no meeting with Dan Brown at all, except for being, once coming back from the US, being stopped at the customs, not to ask if there's any contraband, but to ask if I'm carrying Dan Brown's books. And I was like, yes, the authors have made it. Like, right? I mean, this is no way are we carrying any contraband. We're carrying banned books, really. I am afraid I didn't have a copy of Dan Brown's book on hand then, but that is really something that the customs stopped me for. Oh, okay. All right. I will get on to my next recommendation before we say hello to the guest of our day. And this one, a beautiful book put together by Good Earth. Good Earth, the lifestyle brand, has some excellent books, maybe five, six picture books that are so gorgeously illustrated in Indian artistic styles. I mean, the books are real keepsakes. As you can see, this one, done by Sharad Kohli and Urmimala Nag, who's also illustrated several other books for children, including a beautiful one on Amir Khusro. Now, this one telling you the story of Tansen, one of the Navratans in Akbar's court. What was his story? Did Tansen love to sing as a young boy? This is such a beautiful book on the story, the life and times of Tansen. How, as a young boy, he was such a gifted singer, how he went on to go to Akbar's court, and how he literally, brought the court alive with his wonderful rags and melodies. These books are, like I said, real keepsakes, wonderful to gift both for children and adults, published by Good Earth. So there is that fantastic Good Earth charp on these books. This one priced at 450 rupees, really going into the life and times of Tansen, fictionalized, of course, the life and times of Tansen, priced at 450 rupees and published by Good Earth. We are, of course, absolutely ready for our guest of the day. And I think she's almost in. Has she come in? Has Sandra come in? Okay, has Sandra come in? Okay, so the guest for our day is here. And before we have her come on screen, I have to say that Sandra Oberoi, that name is just completely synonymous with music and with harmony. I can say many, many, many things about Sandra, but there is just I think we will run out of the right notes to introduce such a talented singer, such a talented soprano, a vocal coach, a music educator, and someone who has founded the Harmony School of Music and the artistic director of one of the most well-known, children's choirs in India, that is the Harmony Chorus. Sandra, really, very, very few words to describe her achievements, and they are all aplenty. But what we thought we should do is, sorry, do you want to bring her in, Sham? Do you want to bring her in? Yeah. Good morning.
Hi, Vidya. How are you?
Very
Nice
lovely
to
to see
see you.
you here. And Joanne Saldana, even before we start, says, I've heard Sandra sing with her
Oh,
daughters, and it's a completely surreal experience.
so
So there
sweet.
you are, lots of fans. But I was saying that we would run out of musical notes to describe your achievements, Sandra, of what you've done with the Harmony School and with the Harmony Choir, which is really one of India's best known choirs for children. Plavani Mandana says, my love to Mutaka, and I wish Team Funky Rainbow a harmonious symphony. Thank you so much. Accepted with a lot of gratitude and many musical notes back to you as well. But I thought what would be lovely, and this was a suggestion that came to from Muttama, saying that who better to introduce Sandra than the children of her own choir, and we have a little bit where the children, who participated in a wonderful reality show, a couple of years ago, actually were asked to introduce Sandra to the audience. And you know what they did? They just introduced her in song. We're going to play that small clip out for you before we really say hello to Sandra.
तो आज हम आपसे कुछ कहना Are you guys ready? 2, 3, 4 थोड़ी तीखी है मीठी कभी तो कभी हंसाती है आपसे ही सीखा हंसों के लिए जीना आप है हमारी प्यारी मिस सैंड्रा राइजिंग स्टार में आके परफॉर्म करना आपसे ही हुआ है पूरा सपना We wanna say a big thank you We wanna say We love you Miss Sandra
Yay! We too love you, Miss Sandra.
So
That's what. Welcome, welcome
fond
to our
memories.
band Baja Books.
Thank you.
Bazaar. Jyoti Narayan saying, love the Harmony Music program. My son was with them since age 4.
Hi,
Look at that,
Jyoti.
Sandra. Vijay Lakshmi Nagraj saying, hi, Sandra. Good to see you at Funky Rainbows
Familiar
band
name. So
uh,
nice. So nice.
Bazaar. So welcome, and
Thank you.
so thank you so much for taking time out of a busy schedule to join us at a bazaar that's really special in more ways than one. I'm going to let you say something before I plunge into the questions, but yes, please go right
Oh
ahead,
my.
Sandra.
I just want to say thank you guys, you and Muttama and Sham, for inviting me to be a part of this. I think something so different about interviews and about talking to people. What's special about coming here on this platform is that I think although we're different in different artistic spheres, we share similarities because
Absolutely.
I do so much to promote Indian music, Indian culture and Indian music, and you do so much to promote Indian authors. So it's just so special. I'm so glad we are collaborating in this form. So thank you for all the amazing books that I've been able to, the treasures I say that I've been able to carry
How
on my
lovely.
journey. As we talk, I think we'll touch on a couple of things. But wherever I have gone, I have carried Funky Rainbow's books when I've gone with the choir to perform around the world, and that is, I would say, really special. So thank you guys for inviting me. It's lovely to be here.
So, we will, of course, Sandra, start off by asking you about your childhood. I mean, you were quite a prodigy and you gave your first public performance at the age of 3. I mean, that is just really remarkable. yet when we were chatting yesterday to, getting to know the things that you've done, you spoke of your parents, you spoke of your sisters, you spoke of, the books in your life, almost like your childhood was, just full of good times, good cheer, and
And
good
good
books.
books. Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Tell us about your younger
Um,
days, Sandra.
so yeah, I've grown up because we're here talking about books, and books are so dear to me. I can't ever remember a time when we weren't surrounded as children with books, both my sister and I. And something very interesting that used to take place whenever we did well in school, and we made sure that was quite a bit. uh, my dad would take me to the book society, the Bible Society of India. There used to be a lovely bookstore there. It's now the Hard Rock Cafe. I remember we
Right.
used to go there, and he used to buy us. I would run wild in that space and get to choose a special book. And even when people would come, I would ask just for books as birthday presents. So it was really a special time. But talking about, about my sister, she's now in Ireland. She lives there with her husband and her three little boys. I think when we talk about music and that whole experience, it's just that I have the fondest memories with her. Yes, I did. My first public performance was at the age of 3, and she's about 6 years younger than me, so she wasn't around. You can imagine when she came in, hogged the limelight. But yeah, oh, that's a picture of us.
That's Sandra and her
But
sister.
we would fight like cats and dogs at some some yeah, sometimes, but we would never fail to sing together. That was such a strange thing we did. My parents from the next room would shout and say, "Okay, enough, the lights are out, go to bed." But singing, we wouldn't talk to each other properly at some points when we fought, but we would sing. Oh, that's the last picture in December 2019 that I took with her because she's there. I hope to see her soon. But those are very, very special times, and I hold on to those memories so dearly, dearly with my sister. And of course, my dad was my first music teacher. So I
Lovely.
think many of my musical influences also came in from him. So yeah,
That is just so,
that's
so
my
lovely. And
dad.
while
Yeah.
you're sort of talking about your childhood and the fact that, your family and your siblings and books that were part of the family, I think we must ask you to sing us a little bit
Oh.
from your favorite childhood song. It could be anything, just a small little, bit of music.
Yeah, I'll sing the song, a little bit of the song that I actually sang in that picture when I was 3.
Is
It,
that the one of you
it's
at
the
three?
one with my dad kneeling down,
Oh,
and we were just, I look so scared there because it was at a Christmas event, and I hated Santa Claus at that point. I was terrified of him. And so my dad was kneeling down next to me, trying to just get me, console me and say, he's not going to do anything, and just prepare for me to sing. I've gone there to sing. So I'll just sing a snippet of what I sang then. It's a song that talks about how the Lord is still working on us, and He's so patient with us, despite all our shortcomings and all of that. We are the clay, and He's the potter. He's
lovely.
still working on me to make me what I ought to be. It took him just a week to make the moon and stars, the sun and the earth and Jupiter and Mars. How loving and patient he must be. He's still working on me.
Whoa!
Thank you.
Did that win you a prize?
Oh, no, it was an event, yeah.
Lovely, lovely, lovely. I do remember when we were, sort of chatting about your life. You had this really wonderful thing that you told us, saying that you wanted to grow up to be a molecular biologist.
Yes, darling, that is very true.
And what an exciting musical detour
I
that
know,
grand
right?
plan has had. How did you decide to, I mean, how did you change your tune, so to speak, really,
The
right?
funny thing is, it just happened. And that's why I keep telling both my daughters now. I have two teen girls now, 17 and 15. And I keep telling them, you just keep working hard, just keep doing what you're doing, set goals, both short term and long term goals. But I think what's going to be special is as time goes by, experiences, it's just amazing how it just changed. So yeah, I wanted to be a molecular biologist as long as I can remember. And I know at some points my mom used to say, are you sure that's what you want to be, stuck in a lab with your hair growing out like Einstein, being a scientist and whatnot? But then uh when even I music was always a part of the journey. Like I said, it was always, I never thought I'd actually make a career out of it. But I think things just, it just moved when, it just, my direction just took a different turn over the years. And I found that I was so drawn to wanting to invest into music education particularly, and offering high quality music education to everyone. So my journey just changed, and it's after the kids were born, in fact, that I went on to finish my master's in music education and voice in the United States. And all thanks to my husband, who was, oh my, he still is my hero,
Oh,
a big
wow.
pillar of support. So I'm just very grateful how it just, it's amazing. And yes, that time I used to sing with my sister, and now I sing with my daughters. So I'm really grateful for that.
How very lovely. And that's a picture of, your girls, isn't it?
Yes, yes, Tia Nana.
How very lovely is that? So were really, Sandra, the musical influences, in your life? Are there some particular forms of music that you enjoy more than others? Tell us a bit
I
about
do.
that.
Ever since a young girl, I think I was drawn to a cappella. There was something so intriguing about listening to a choral sound without accompaniment. And like I shared with you yesterday, you know, I remember I have such fond memories of trying to get little kids together, my cousins or little kids in the children in the neighborhood, get them together and teach them how to sing. And back then I decided, oh my gosh, when I grow up, I want to have a choir that sings and shares their music across the world. Who knew that would come to pass one day? But so a cappella is something that I'm very drawn to. I also enjoy gospel, jazz, blues, yeah, a smattering of this, a smattering of that. I don't really have favorite artists. There are too many to count. But
Yeah.
if you play me some good old a cappella or some good old blues and jazz, ooh, I just sit up and I enjoy it.
Lovely, lovely. And I know we have a little clip that you shared with us that we'd like to share with our viewers about your favorite music, right?
Yeah,
Isn't that
gospel.
so? Yeah, the gospel. Huh? Yes, yes.
He's my own time God. Oh, yes, he is. Oh, oh, my own time God. Yes, he is. Job said he may not come when you want him, but he'll be there right on time. He's my own time God. Yes, he is. You can ask the children of Israel to right at that Red Sea by that mean old Pharaoh and his army. They had water all around them and old Pharaoh at their back. But from out of nowhere, God stepped in and made a highway just like that. So let me tell you, he's my own time God. Oh, yes, he is. Oh, yes, my own time God. Yes, he is. Job said he may not come when you want him, but he'll be there right on time. He's my own time God. Yes, said, Jesus, please come and heal him. But Jesus waited till he was dead. And they said, Lord, I don't understand it, why you've waited so long. Jesus said, Lazarus, come forth, and death let him go. And he just walked right out of the tomb. So let me tell you, he's my on time God. Oh yeah, yes he is. On time God. Yes he is. Job said he may not come when you want him, but he'll be there right on time. He's my on time God. Yes he is. He's on time. He's on time. He's on time. Oh yes, he's on time. When you need him, when you call him, when you look for him, my God is on time. He's an on time God. Oh yes, he is. Oh, my on time God. Yes, he is. Job said he may not come when you want him, but he'll be there right on time. He's my on time God. He's my on time God. He's my on time God. Oh yeah, yeah.
What powerful singing is that? Fantastic. Just love the fact that you have the lyrics right up there. In fact, my childhood memories are simply just filled with notebooks in which you would play and rewind
Yeah,
and play and rewind,
it's
and,
true.
write down the lyrics. So I was so absolutely delighted to see that the lyrics there. But my God, what powerful singing,
Thank
really.
you, Vidya.
When
You
was
were kind.
that? When did you
About
video?
this was, I think, 2015. About five
Oh.
years ago, this video came out. Yeah, there are a couple more like that.
I can imagine, yes. And one day live again, one day live
Yes.
again, really, right? Given that we've had, one or two events with you before, hopefully the world, COVID will be over and we'll be doing this live one time. So from there, how did the Harmony School and the Harmony Chorus, how did they come about to be?
So Harmony the Music School I started this place, I'm gonna say a good a little over 12 years ago, August 2028, 2008. And again, my daughter was four-ish, five-ish at that time. And I had sent her to a music school to take lessons, but I just felt I wasn't too happy, because the thing is, I didn't start teaching because you hear all the chatter about, oh, you can't teach your own children, you can't, it's very hard to train your own, children and things like that. So I sort of shied away from that, and that's why I didn't do it, and I sent her off. But then I saw what was happening, and I said, my goodness, I think I know better than this. I've done music all my life. I need to do this, and that's how I got into it. And in fact, Muttama's daughter is one of the first three that I had who joined us at that point way back when. And yes, this is from a concert in 2011 with the Harmony chorus, the Harmony choir at that point.
Oh.
And the journey has been marvelous ever since. It's just amazing the way it changed, Uh, one thing led to another. It just went on, and I'm just very grateful that, like I said, you keep doing what you're doing, keep working hard, keep at it, and doors will just open. And that's the nice thing. I tell my daughters, and I tell my choir, all my kids as well, I said, I say to them, I'm always surprised at what's going to happen tomorrow. It's nice to set goals and know and have a plan and a vision. That's great. But if you're excited, instead of worrying, actually being excited about the future, what tomorrow holds, that's isn't that great? So I approach each day with that idea. Oh my gosh, I'm excited because that's been my journey.
I remember you said you were 12 when you I mean, you knew you were going to have a children's choir. I mean, that's quite a like
Never
quite a
imagined.
mind-boggling ambition to have, really,
and
right?
and you know, the funny thing is, Vidya, I didn't really do anything after that per se, actively pursuing that dream, but it was there somewhere, and it just grew into this amazing thing, or this amazing this amazing choir as the years went by. So yeah, I'm just very blessed to have my lovely
You know,
kids.
we too. Mutama has told us so much about Arzu being amongst your earliest students, and
I
just
know I'm
that.
a bully, but I'm so grateful to be part of that too.
She
What
says,
did she
I know
say?
I'm a bully mom,
Oh
but I'm
no,
so.
she's one of the dearest mums, really.
But really, the blessings of music, passed on to so many children. In fact, we have a video, which you made with Sham, right, for the
Yes,
Harmony Chorus,
on
ad.
Rising Star. Oh gosh.
Oh, is that not okay? Okay, I think they're not able to play that one
Oh,
on.
okay.
If we
Is it?
can play it later in the program, we will certainly do that. But I do know that you made a video, showcasing the harmony chorus, and the different places that you've played in, across the years. If we can show that at the end of the program, we will. One of the questions that I meant to ask you, Sandra, is like, and it's, I was introduced to Harmony through Muttama, and, we've been listening to you, following you, coming for some of your programs. The one thing that really stands out about Harmony is how syncretic your music is. You're drawing from all forms of music, be it popular music, be it classical music, be it gospel. And you've also, I remember, you talking about, I think it was on the Rising Stars program, about how you drew from traditions all over the country. And that's really the hallmark of I think Harmony's music. Would you like to, you know is that something that you hold dear as a musician and as the artistic director of a choir?
Yes, I do, Vidya, and I've also spoken extensively and written a few papers on this as well. Um, the fact that, we have such a rich tradition here in our country, and it's great. So it's wonderful to draw from Western cultures and to gain inspiration from Western influences and all of that. That's great. But I think we have so much to celebrate within our country itself, and many of our younger children today forget that. They don't have something that they can look at, that is relevant to them or that makes sense. So I thought about taking Indian folk music from around the country and setting it to, so to speak, a language that the children are familiar with. What do I mean by that? They already are used to singing in 3 and 4 part, maybe even many more part harmonies, right? Many more parts of harmony. So what I did was I took these folk music from different folk songs from different cultures around India and set that to choral singing for them to sing it. So it was familiar in some sense. It's unfamiliar music, but it became familiar to them. And then they started digging deeper into finding out more about that place and more about the country. And so, I mean, more about the state and more about the traditions and all of that. So I think that has been, and I found that it's been celebrated. This facet of our journey has been celebrated all across the world now. They really appreciate that we are able to represent Indian music in a way that is accessible to others. So it's unfamiliar but still made familiar. So just like your books, your books are about Indian culture, but it's written in English, so it's familiar. It's unfamiliar in some ways, and it's new information, but it's written in English, so everyone can read it. So it's kind of like that, taking music from everywhere and packaging it and bringing it out. To the front in a way that's familiar to the children. Yeah. So,
I do know that you took one of our books,
oh,
right?
I have it
And
right here.
oh,
We took this, yes, and it's so special because this book is about the Santal people, and West Bengal, we're talking about, and the patua, the friendship that they had.
Right.
It's so nice for children to read, and this picture book, when you open it, I mean, little kids can go through it
Yes.
and look and chat and talk about all the little details that they see, from the village life. This
Absolutely.
was special because I took this book with us when we went for our concert tour to Russia. And
Right.
I remember so vividly, there were a number of choirs that came to that event. And they were, there was this sort of discussion, who's going to get, it was just one book that I took, this particular one. I had a couple different ones that I took and went. But this one, they were wondering who's going to keep it where and who's going to get the privilege of housing that. Uh, so we've your books have gone to Russia and to UK. You should know
Wow.
that,
Wow.
and traveled with us. I've actually taken a couple more books. Another special one was Yusair Lapalang. Oh,
Yeah,
this is
fact.
such a dear book, I tell you. Uh, it's about the culture. I mean, it's about, actually, it talks about the environment in the Northeast. It was written to a little story to take care of the environment and to stop hunting, and for hunting for pleasure, things like that. But what was special is there's actually a folk song written about this
Yes.
story, and so we sang this song, I
Yes.
would say, and read the story out in Russia
How
and in the
lovely.
UK as well. Yeah, and this is the book from that I got from you guys, Funky Rainbow. Yeah.
we we found out from you that there was, a song that already existed in Kasi, which you
Yes.
sort of brought, to the choir, and we have a lovely, rendition of Usia Lapalang,
In
being
Russia.
the children. We're going to play it for our audience because it's such a moving story and such a powerful song, really. I mean, the book and the song just, go
It
hand
is. It's
in hand.
such a
So
special story. And I think uh, what's lovely is, I mean, see, this is where Mutama comes in handy. So she heard us do this and she's like, oh, I have a book that goes exactly with your song. So, I want to say, you guys are such smart people. I tell you, you have something that you can connect with anything and everything.
yes.
And to think that we have Indian authors writing so extensively on all of these different, whether it's the environment, whether it's about health. Oh, when we're talking about health, Rupa Pai's book on
Leeches
uh,
and
the leeches and slugs, this one again, who would think that such an interesting book would come out, and by an Indian author. And I think what y'all are doing is phenomenal, really. I'm really so happy that there's a bookstore like yours, or like this online bookstore, now online, traveling online, doing the kind of work that you're doing, and you know promoting Indian authors.
thank you. Thank you so much. I mean, you have really helped take them here, there, everywhere. That's the dream. That's the
Well, we've
unbelievable.
carried your books as treasures to other countries. It is.
So your the times that you visited Russia and then the UK with the children's choir. I mean, carrying musical traditions from our country to their country, literally ambassadors of India, in all these countries that you've traveled to. Are there some wonderful experiences, maybe one or two, that you'd like to share from these travels, Sandra?
You know, I think it's really nice that the children realized on that journey, or during our trip, that music, irrespective of where it is from, is such a powerful tool to connect people. We would just stand, we were at Buckingham Palace, for example, and they just broke into song, and the huge crowds that came to watch the changing of the guard just crowded around us, and they were so intrigued by the songs we were singing in Hindi, and and they wanted to know more about us. Wherever we have sung, whatever we have presented, I think the children have realized that they've got so much of love and warmth and affection showered on them, just because they were willing to bring joy to people through their music. So that's been, I mean, too many instances to count. Oh gosh, too many to talk about. Everywhere it was such special experiences for us.
I
Singing
can.
at whether it was singing at the embassies, or even just in our hotel, there was a little boy who was disabled, differently abled, and he was on a wheelchair. And I remember his dad looked at all of us little children, and he said, "Who's the adult here?" And so I said, "That's me." Ooh, that's a compliment. And so he said, "Why are you Indian children here?" This was in York. And then I told him a little bit about our choir. He said, "We can't come to any of your concerts. Would you be willing to do one for us?" And the kids were willing. They just surrounded this little boy, broke out into song, and I could tell that made his day. So we've sung at the big places, the little places, in hotels, on the street, in subways. Oh gosh, too many special experiences.
Can imagine. But it does sort of lead me to my next question for you. In fact, something that one thing that stands out about your music is that it's really music with a purpose,
Mm-hmm,
right? I mean,
mm-hmm.
you have tell us, it's so important to you as a musician, as an artistic director of a choir, to spread this message of hope, joy, and love through your music, isn't it? And
Yes,
it's
Vidya, absolutely. See,
no,
the
go
my,
ahead, tell us
my
about that.
point is, we're singing, we're enjoying the process of making art. Why not take it to the next step and see what can come out of it by blessing people with what we do? That's what I tell all my students. Just go that one extra step. It doesn't hurt. And so that's why we've been able to support so many causes. Just to think, look how powerful music can be. So here's this person who wanted to be a molecular biologist and make some change in the world, as my name is. My name means helper of mankind. And here we are today, helping people through our music. And I love that music can be so powerful. Yes, we've done so many, from mental health awareness to climate change to, I mean, to singing for Massachusetts General Hospital.
You should tell our viewers about the connection between Rupa's big book and what you sang for the Massachusetts Hospital,
I know
right?
the leeches and slugs book, right? Um, she's written about how anesthesia was actually born right there. The whole breakthrough came out. I think it was in 18 between 1845 and 1847 that they were doing different trials, and then it didn't work, and how it all came together. I think in 1847, and that breakthrough was at the Massachusetts General Hospital. William Morton was responsible for that, and that changed how we looked at surgeries and how we looked at how we conquered pain. Rupa says that in her book, how mankind conquered pain. So that's and it's so nice that just this during the pandemic we got to sing collaborate with the Boston Children's Choir, the Boston Children's Chorus, and a few other choirs around the world, singing to raise funds for the Massachusetts General Hospital.
Wow, that'd
Gosh, I
be
have goosebumps when I'm thinking of that. I'm just thinking,
me
look how
too.
powerful music, isn't it, Vidya? It's just amazing what we can do.
It is. I mean, to me, it's just that, my God, it's there in that book, and then you're singing. I mean,
I
really, the
know.
connecting those dots,
And
how
Rupa,
wonderful.
I want a big shout out to her. She actually, once the children were on Rising Star, I mean, she was a huge supporter. All of you have been supporters of us. But Rupa went an extra step and she gave all the kids a book once they came back, 99 ways, 99
Ready.
must have skills for the
Yes,
world
ready.
conquering
That
teenager.
was Rupa and Muttama.
Oh, yes, of course.
Who's never,
If it's not for
asked told
Muttama,
you that,
gosh.
but
Yeah.
no, that is just so, so lovely. I know there are one or two other books that you sort of, wanted to talk about, because, we will ask you to sing for
Oh,
sure before,
my.
we let you go. If you want to, tell us one or two of your other books that you've
Yeah,
discovered from our connection.
this book, such a special one. And I think what's special is we use this book to, I mean, I use this to write a song. I use the lyrics, I mean, the words in this book to write a song, which we sang for Funky Rainbow's birthday.
Yes.
Yeah. And the other one was a musical road trip
Musical road
by
trip. That's right.
Shama Panikar, which I think you
Shama
all spoke
Panikar. Yes.
about
Yes.
recently. Another great book. What an interesting way to introduce notes to little
Yes.
children. Such a great book. Mutama also gave me this book for my birthday. Oh, this is such, I mean, she knows where, how to touch someone, right? The piano, story of
No.
friendship. So I'm just, I mean, your books are here, many of them. And I'm such a, I mean, I will continue to endorse all the wonderful Indian authors that you are curating regularly.
Of course, it's Christmas. It's going to be Christmas soon, and we can't let you go without singing
Oh my
us
gosh.
a good Christmas song. Really, all the audiences. I mean, there've been so many comments. Joanne Saldana saying your choristers are blessed to have you conduct in more ways than one. Somebody else remarking that it was such a powerful. Your singing is so powerful. Sheena John actually saying that, wow, so powerful. I love listening to you. So that's just wonderful. Please, please do sing us a merry tune for Christmas.
Okay, I'm gonna sing. I know we'll all hear a lot of carols and all of that, but today I want to sing a song that I wrote. Just a little a Christmas song that I wrote. I would think about 8 years ago, and my choir has sung this, and there are so many little kids who. I'm so glad they're taking it into their different spaces. They write to me and say, Miss Sandy, can I sing this? Can I sing your song? So I'm very glad that Christmas time this song comes alive. And I thought, let me share a little bit of that. It's not about cakes, not about candles, not about clothes, not about carols, not about candy, not about the Christmas tree. It's not about cakes, not about candles, it's not about clothes, not about carols, not about candy, not about the Christmas tree. What then is the spirit of Christmas? What is the true spirit of Christmas? Does anybody know? Anybody know that it's about love? It's about sharing. It's about hope. It's about caring, a season to give. All of these things in good measure. Oh, a time to remember that God gave us His Son. A Savior is born, Jesus our Lord, the light of the world. It's not about feasts, not about fashions, it's not about food, not about bashes, not about Santa, not about the mistletoe. Oh, it's not about feasts. tastes, not about fashions, it's not about food, not about ashes, not about Santa, not about the mistletoe. What then is the spirit of Christmas? What is the true spirit of Christmas? Does anybody know? Well, anybody know that it's about love, it's about sharing, it's about hope, it's about caring, a season to give all of these things in good measure. Oh, a time to remember that God, He gave us His Son, a Savior is born, Jesus our Lord, the light of the world. And I'll end it there. Thank you, dear. Thank you.
That was
Thank
just
you.
spectacular. Yes, it's not about all of those things. It's about the spirit of Christmas.
Yes.
It's about books, of course.
Absolutely. And sharing them. Well, I think that's the best gift that can be given this Christmas. A good gift to think about, isn't it?
Yes, I we would happily and heartily burst into song if we could match even a single note
Oh,
with you and
come
say it's all about books, definitely.
on. Oh, gosh. So thanks for having
Thank
me,
you.
Vidya.
Thank you so much, Sandra.
I
It's just,
enjoyed my time.
such a pleasure. David Williams from Australia clapping for you, saying how wonderful that was. Shirley Graham saying wonderful thoughts about the meaning of
That's
Christmas.
my mom, by the way.
Oh, big shout out. Thank you. No music better to anyone's ears than mum's support.
Oh, yes. I have great parents. Thank you.
Joanne Saldana saying amen, amen to that. How very lovely that singing was. Vijay Lakshmi Nagraj saying, lovely
Merry
Sandra,
Christmas.
Merry Christmas
Yes.
and a fabulous 2021 and beyond to
Yes.
you
To
and all
you all as well.
Thank you so much for
Thank
being
you.
at our Ban Baja Books Bazaar. And we are going to tell everyone that many of these videos are on Harmony's YouTube
Yes.
channel. You can, go there, check it out, and listen to the wonderful Sandra Obroy and her choir singing so wonderfully.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Also on Facebook and Instagram, Muttama reminds me.
Oh,
Thank
yes.
you so
The Harmony
much.
Chorus. You can find us with the Harmony Chorus. Thank
Bye
you.
bye,
Thank you.
Sandra.
Bye. God bless.
And there that was the fabulous Sandra Obroy with some fantastic singing. I mean, you really should check out the videos, of the Harmony Choir performing, syncretic music in so many spaces. It is just the right, I think that will just give you the right note to start your Christmas celebrations on. We will, of course, come back to a bunch of books that we still have to recommend. As always, more books that we can recommend, but I am going to, talk to you about two books by that master storyteller, Ruskin Bond. I mean, it's just this book that he's done called Ranji, the Music Maker, illustrated Ryan O'Broy saying, "So proud of my princess. Hooray!" Well, this is really what we call, unconditional support. Thank you, Ryan O'Broy, for, really being the wind beneath Sandra's wings. Billy Graham saying, "Brilliant." That is Sandra Obroy's father. My gosh, that family really. Thank you, sir, for watching, us at our bazaar and watching your daughters sing so magnificently. We are, of course, moving on to a couple of recommendations, and this one is Ruskin Bond's Ranji, the Music Maker, a simple, lovely chapter book, meant for readers in the ages of 5 to 7 years or maybe 6 to 8 years. You can see large illustrations and not that much text about a young little boy called Ranji and, how he discovers so many musical instruments in the storeroom of his house. Does he become a music maker? What was he? Is he going to become a rock star? So you can see he has a little flute, and then there's a trumpet, trumpet. He stumbles upon a trumpet, and there's a drum as well. So, a book that really gets you moving and grooving. There is another quick one, I mean, another simple one from Ruskin Bond called Koki's Song. Again, a chapter book, illustrated by Aisha Sadar and Ishan Das Gupta. This is just the story of, somebody that Ruskin Bond remembers so wistfully from his own childhood. This little young girl called Koki. Now, it's a story of friendship, and it's a story that's bound by the sounds of nature. We know Bond is a fantastic nature writer. And so, the trees, the flowers, the wind in the mountains, and this wonderful friendship accompanied to the music of nature. We would recommend these books for 5 to 7 or 6 to 8 years, perhaps. This one published by HarperCollins, priced at 250 rupees. We have, of course, one or two, a couple of more Christmas ones coming, your way. There is this wonderful anthology of Christmas stories. It's part of a series called Celebrate. And this one called Christmas is full of stories, it's full of activities, and it's full of little things that you can do. There's a little bit of info about Christmas, about the word Christmas, the date, the story of Christmas, about Santa Claus, about the Christmas tree, about different traditions. And there are a mix of stories by Anukumar, Rupa Pai, whom Sandra was referring to earlier, Swapna Datta, and a whole host of lovely writers. What is nice is that besides the stories, there are these little, do it yourself things that children will quite enjoy, doing over their Christmas holidays. This anthology, published by Hachette, priced at 195 rupees, recommended for 8+ year olds. Oh, yes, of course. And I completely forgot that cover illustration and cover design by the one and only Grey Stroke, who at present has a pair of headphones in his ears. I suspect he doesn't. He's really fearful that Mutama and me might break into song. This one, as I said, the whole series has its covers, designed and illustrated by Grey Stroke. Our next book, which is a charming, happy book for the season, is called When Santa Went Missing, written by Parinita Shetty. Now, what is this story about? It's just so lovely. It's about a young girl called Noel, an 11-year-old called Noel, who all Noel wants to do is to, live a normal life. But is that possible when your father is Santa Claus? Well, not really. And just as Noel is, trying to cope with her father and this dysfunctional family, Santa Claus, that is her father, suddenly goes missing right in the middle of Christmas season. Oh my gosh, rumors flow fast and thick. What's going to happen to all the elves in the toy factories that are making all the toys? Noel to the rescue, of course. And you know who's helping Noel? There are a bunch of elves. There's Gilmore, there's Coral, and there's Bean. And you know what? They are elves with personality disorders. Wow, we love the sound. It's a hilarious laugh a minute book for this Christmas season. What of their adventures? Can Santa be found, and will toys be delivered to kids all over the world? This rollicking Christmas adventure by Parinita Shetty, published by Penguin and priced at 199 rupees. We come back to a little bit of music again, of course, and there is this wonderful book from Terry called Tagore and the Song of the Crazy Wind, written by Subhadra Sengupta and illustrated by Taposh Guha. What is this? I mean, this entire series, Archana Athri says, I can't say how much the nerds loved Parinita Shetty's book. It's absolutely delightful, so contemporary, so Christmassy, and so zany, really, Archana Atri. It's a lovely read for children 9 plus if they're reading at an advanced level, or perhaps 10 plus. If the older, I mean, larger books, confound younger children, then we would say 10 plus, really. This one from Terry is part of a series of books that features historical personalities who, conserved and preserved the environment in their own special ways. And we've only focused on this one book in the series because it's the story of a young boy called Badal who finds a home in Shantiniketan, which is the school that Tagore set up, and his classes are under a tree. So his mornings are spent listening to birds, and afternoons are spent gardening. And he has none other than Tagore or Gurudev as India's one of India's finest songwriters, one of India's finest poets, as his teacher. Now, where does the song come into the picture? One windy day, when Tagore and Badal, are sitting together, there is the beauty of nature inspires them to come up with a musical creation. It's a lovely story that brings in environment concerns as well as, the power of music for readers, again, 9 plus years in age. This one, published by Terry, is priced at 125 rupees. I know we have author Vijay Lakshmi Nagaraj right here, and we couldn't go off without recommending her wonderful book, Chip Chirp Hoot, The Sounds of Nature and Other Stories. Vijay, such a big nature lover herself, has a lovely collection of stories set in beautiful, Indian locales that have stunning natural vistas. It could be on top of a mountain, it could be, where the rivers meet the sea. And there is one story in this book where a river, you are introduced to a river that quite literally sings songs. Really, a wonderful introduction to the sounds of nature. And it's not just mountains and rivers, there's the pied Malabar hornbill, there is the magpie robin, and a whole host of nature's delights and sounds of nature that, that really bring the music, alive in your ears. This again, we would recommend for 9 plus year olds, illustrated but fairly heavy on text. A wonderful book called Chip, Chirp, Hoot, The Sounds of Nature and Other Stories. This one priced at 185 rupees and published by Terry. Our next book is a gem in our collection, and I do know its author Mamta Naini has such wonderful research tucked away in really what is a one of its kind book in the Indian children's publishing context. This one is called Baja, an introductory guide to Indian musical instruments. It's written by Mamta Naini and it's illustrated by Aniruddha Mukherjee. I'm sure many people don't know about this treasure trove of a book because it takes you behind the stories of different Indian musical instruments. And I know, it could be the tanpura, it could be the tabla, it could be the veena, it could be the sarod, it could be just so many different Indian instruments. What are their stories? What families do they belong to? What are the myths and legends associated with these musical instruments? It is published by Mango. It's a slim book, but it really contains within it a treasure trove of information on Indian musical instruments. It's a must have in a music lover's library. It's a must have in any school's library for sure. Like I said, published by Mango Books, meant for 10 plus year olds, priced at 95 rupees. Our next book for the day is again a lovely novel with a big musical background. This is Kavita Mandana's Trapped. it's a fantastic story of this pair of twins called Aditi and Arjun, both of whom find music in the mundane. Everything in and around them, has, musical connections for this pair of twins. They are part of a band and they're part of a music video that's gone viral, recently. Now, what happens? Why is their mother very worried about this? I mean, she's got children who are very prodigious musically, but why is she worried? Well, that's because Arjun and Aditi keep talking to a brother whom no one can see. My gosh. So, what happens? Even Aditi and Arjun, they, a lot of their lyrics are written by this ghost writer, quotes unquotes, and a ghost writer who's doing everything that he can to come out of oblivion. This is a strange, haunting, compelling read with a lot of music thrown into the story. And of course, it's a lovely story of secrets and high school heartbreaks that really will have readers 10 plus turning the pages. Very, it's a fantastic adventure, and it's really, the kind of, we meet children so often who love to read supernatural adventure stories, and this one is certainly one of them with a musical background. Published by Penguin, priced at 250 rupees, and a must read for 10, 11 plus year olds. We have a bunch of, yeah, I think we have a little bit more time. We have a clutch of, lovely little books again, back to the Christmas theme now. And this one was something that I discovered just maybe like 2 months ago. I didn't know that there was a mystery that, that was Hercule Poirot's Christmas, written by Agatha Christie. It's just lovely. You should listen to what Poirot himself says in Poirot's own words, saying that Christmas is a season of good cheer. That means a lot of eating. Then comes the overeating, and then the indigestion, and then the irritability, and then the quarrel, and then the murder. Poirot, of course, has to step right in and solve this really gory murder mystery set in a Christmas, set during Christmas. And Agatha Christie, wrote this story for her brother-in-law. I think she credits him somewhere in the book, saying that you've been one of my most faithful readers, and when you sent a letter saying that that my murders were getting too refined and too anemic, in fact, and that you yearned for a good gory murder, here is one that I have written just for you, set during Christmas. It was a gift to her brother-in-law, and this is an absolutely compelling mystery that we would recommend for 13 plus year olds and adults. And I just love its cheerful, Christmassy cover. Of course, there's murder lurking right behind this cheerful cover. There is one other book that we would recommend for young adults, which is Sophie Kinsella, who's absolutely a delightful writer whose books really make you laugh and laugh. Well, this is called Christmas Shopaholic, and it's a Becky Bloomwood novel. Becky Bloomwood is Sophie Kinsella's, famous character. And what happens? Becky Brandon, nee Bloomwood, is looking forward to Christmas, a quiet Christmas with her parents, with her mum baking a Christmas pudding and her father inviting all the next door neighbors to come in for a bit of sherry and Christmas cheer. Of course, there are all the online shopping websites. And so, even if you haven't chosen everything that you want to in time, there's always, last minute free delivery that's possible for Christmas. Sorry? Oh, okay. Shams, of course, says there's online shopping possible at Funky Rainbow as well. And there is the 2020 offer. So if you pick up books above 2,000 rupees, they can come to you in time for Christmas at a 20% discount, which is a phenomenal discount, in the world of books. But, what happens to to Becky's well made plans? Suddenly, her sister demands that the turkey has got to be vegan. And her husband just wants an aftershave as a birthday gift. And there's an old boyfriend and his pushy girlfriend who's come back into the picture. My gosh, is Christmas still joyous for Becky? Well, this book will leave you giddy with laughter for the Christmas season. So Sophie Kinsella, we would recommend for 15 plus year olds and adults of all ages, of course. This one published again by Penguin Random House, priced at 599 rupees. Of course, we have to end the bazaar. Before we go into our new recommendation segment, we want to come back to books of music. And now, because we have so many adults watching us, we have two excellent books, on the musical theme for adults. This one is just a mind blowing musical mystery by one of my favorite writers for adults, Kalpana Swaminathan. Kalpana Swaminathan's created this detective called Detective Lully. And I tell you, Lully's mysteries, and I've read them across the last 10 years, are blood curdling, macabre, and really sometimes playing with your head. And what happens, this is a brand new Lully mystery. This is my Christmas gift. I've already read it, and I thoroughly enjoyed Ragam, Tanam, Pallavi. You know that those are Indian raga. That's an Indian raga. And in this fantastic mystery, the only clue that Lully, who's a retired policewoman and the sharpest and most intriguing detective in the Indian writing context, has only a musical clue to solve this mystery. And of course, there's murder in it, and the clue lies in the Ragam, Tanam, Pallavi raga. Really, for those of you who love, and it's not gory, it's not like a blood filled murder mystery. It's more in the head, but it's a phenomenal murder mystery. And for those of you who haven't met Detective Lully, this one is an absolute must. You've got to read the Lully mysteries. It'll make your Christmas. This one published by Speaking Tiger, priced at 499 rupees. And the last one in the music selection is, of course, the wonderful musician Shubha Mudgal's Looking for Miss Sargam. Again, a book for adults. This is a collection of stories of music and misadventure. It's just lovely how musicians, when they write stories of music and with musical settings, basically, there is one story I remember in the book about a harmonium player who absolutely wants to win the Padma Shri award and needs a recommendation. When musicians write these stories, and this collection, which is Shubha Mudgal's debut collection, actually taking you, right into the world of music, the politics, the power struggles, the highs and lows of concert performances. Just a wonderful clutch of stories written by a wonderful musician who has, of course, with this debut, shown us that she can be a wonderful writer as well. Looking for Miss Sargam, again, published by Speaking Tiger and priced at 499 rupees. Of course, there are several other books on music and Christmas that are up on our website. So please do go to www.funkyrainbow.com. Click on the tab that says Buzzaar, and there'll be a drop-down menu. You can click Band Baja Books for all the music books that we've put into this, and you can click on Christmas for all the Christmas books that are in our collection. We do, of course, like Sham has put up on the screen, deliver all over India. Guys, add to Christmas cheer by sending books to your near and dear ones, no matter what their age is. With that, of course, we'll go into our new arrival segment. And I promise just to take 5 minutes of your time because some of these books we still haven't read. But we will, introduce a couple of them to you. These are books that are brand new on our bookshelves, literally coming in only in the last 3 4 days. So the first one of those is, of course, a delightful board book saying "If It Is Christmas and You Know It," written by Hannah Elliott and illustrated by Carol Herring. It is a story about celebrating Christmas to the tune of "If You're Happy and You Know It." And I can imagine the children just tapping to the beat of this lovely song and enjoying this lovely Christmassy board book. The next one that we want to, and it's a book that I think at Funky Rainbow, we simply haven't taken our eyes off ever since it came onto our bookshelves. This one is called The Lost Spells. For those of you who are familiar with, Words, which is this wonderful book about words by Robert McFarlane and Jackie Morris, they come back with this gorgeous book of spells to be spoken aloud, where you have tons of charms, tons of spells, tongue twisters, blessings, lullabies, and psalms, accompanied to some spectacular illustrations of nature of the sort that you simply can't take your eyes off. This one is a perfect companion to the Lost Words. We do have Lost Words on our on our website, and Lost Words is this giant book, really really large book, and Lost Spells, this teeny tiny book. It's just a perfect, these are just perfect Christmas presents for young and old alike. Really, as I said, we can't stop staring with awe at the beautiful imagery and illustrations in the Lost Spells. The next new book on our shelves, a quick one, Become a Junior Entrepreneur by Vrinda Bansode. And it's supposed to give you an insight into the world of entrepreneurship and, give you tips on how you can ideate, create, and grow. We would recommend this for, it's a book of nonfiction that we would recommend for 10 plus year olds, with spaces and pages for jotting down entrepreneurial ideas, thoughts, and ensuring that you give yourself just the right boost to become an entrepreneur. It's very very nicely put together with bits and bytes of trivia and info. Joanne Saldana saying, "I just love Robert McFarlane. At the Abacus Farm School, the children chant these spells from lost words, calling them back into existence. It's beautiful." Joanne, you should just look at the lost spells. My jaw was stuck to the ground. It remains stuck to the ground. It has just not come back because that's how spectacular the illustrations are, and the spells and the psalms and lullabies in this one going to keep young and old enthralled. I assure you that for sure. Coming back to junior entrepreneur, so this is everything that you need to be a startup success and an entrepreneur, published by Penguin, priced at 399 rupees. And this book, which has been doing the rounds for quite a while, at least in the last month, landing at our bookshelves only last week, the wonderful Anjali Roff's The Night Bus Hero. I know Joanne Saldana has recommended it and praised it to the skies. This is exactly the book that I'm going to be reading this coming weekend, and hopefully we will recommend it in one of the bazaars going forward, because Anjali Roff is such a fantastic writer. Her Boy at the Back of the Class, which we also have in our collection in Funky Rainbow, a beautiful story of a boy who makes his way to London, who's a refugee who comes into London and has to attend school and feels that he doesn't quite fit in. Anjali Roff effortlessly bringing difficult themes into her stories, which are so easy and so compelling to read. This one published by Hachette and priced at 499 rupees. With that, we come to an end of our band Baja Books Barat. I'm going to just say a quick round of hellos to all our friends who've joined us through the show. Vijay Lakshmi Nagraj, Uma Sharma, Sheena John. Such a pleasure to see all of you here. Jyoti Narayan, what a pleasure. We didn't know that your son was going to Harmony when you were here. PC Dogra. Smita Indra, Shirley Graham, Ryan Oberoi, Billy Graham, Archana Atri, what a pleasure, Pooja Varma, Annapurna Das, and Devangana Dash. We absolutely, loved recommending your book at our band Baja Books Barat. Joanne Saldana saying Anjali Roth walks the talk, deeply respect her writing. Absolutely, that's a writer who wears her, her literary style so lightly on her shoulders, talking about difficult themes, yet making those themes so readable. So, yes, with that wonderful Sandhya Rajgopal saying it's tough to jot down the names of the books as you speak. Where can I see the list? So, come to our website www.funkyrainbow.com. There is a tab right on top called the Bazaar. Click the tab that says Bazaar, and there will be a menu that drops down. One of the menu items will read banned Baja books, and another one will read Christmas. All the books that we featured in this Bazaar and all the ones that we haven't been able to speak about too are all up there, Sandhya. And I could see that Sham was just sharing those links up with you. We will message you on WhatsApp, sharing those specific links, and you can click through and see all the books in our collection. Devangana saying the bazaar was delightful. Thank you for bringing the jungle radio here. Thank you so much for giving us that wonderful musical book, Devangana. And with that, on that happy note, saying bye bye to all of you. Get started on the Christmas season, with a high musical note, folks. Bye bye, and we'll see you next week.